Hi.
You wanna buy something?
No, not really.
I got cabbages. Buy a cabbage, senor.
I don't think so. I didn't come all this way to buy vegetables. Listen, have you heard of Condor Transglobal?
No. Buy a cabbage. I'll give you a discount on both purchases.
I'm not into cabbages. See ya. Those things are gourds, aren't they?
See.
Hey! Mind the footwear, lady. Do you have crabs?
No, only fish.
Nice fish.
Thanks.
If, by some remote chance, I ever need a fish, I'll be back. See you later. Hey, cheer up, guys. What's with the long faces?
Our pipe player has been arrested and thrown in jail.
Poor Miguel. He never broke the law in his life.
Why was Miguel put in jail?
For playing folk music.
What?
It's true, senor. He insisted on playing traditional Cuaramonte music, even though it's illegal.
Why don't you try playing a tune to cheer yourselves up?
No, we should be looking for real jobs.
We could earn 10 times as much down the mines. My cousin Ramirez was earning 8 pesos an hour.
Before he lost his legs in the accident.
Tell me about the accident at the mine.
There was an explosion at Teoculcan. 30 miners were buried alive.
They got some of them out, though.
2 of them, including your cousin, and they left half of him behind.
Would either of you guys care for a biscuit?
A dog biscuit, senor?
Are you trying to insult us?
No, really. They're good.
We'll take your word for it.
Have you any idea what this is?
No, senor.
Me neither.
What do you make of this little worm?
No good. It's dead.
Sure it's dead. You think I'd carry it around in my pocket if it wasn't? Take a look at the design on this label.
I have seen that before.
Where?
There was a ship flying a flag just like that.
When did you see this ship?
3 months ago. It was here, at the docks.
What was the ship with the Condor flag carrying?
I don't know, senor. We weren't allowed near the docks.
That's right. Usually we meet the ships when they tie up.
We play to the tourists.
Well, when the Condor ship came in, we were told to go away.
Do you guys know anything about a total eclipse?
What is it?
It's like when the sun is hidden by the moon.
It's crazy.
My cousin Alfredo swears he saw it happen once. But that was after he stupidly consumed a cocktail of peyote and antibiotics.
George Stobart, well, of all the...
Mrs. Henderson. Boy, this is some coincidence, huh?
When you've been married to a fruitcake like Dwayne as long as I have, you stop believing in coincidence.
I'd met Pearl and Dwayne on the other side of the globe in Syria. He was an Army veteran who suspected he was working for the CIA, but wasn't sure. She was less obviously deranged. Is Dwayne here with you, Mrs. Henderson?
Why, sure, I couldn't leave him home alone. Since Dwayne came back from the war, we couldn't bear to be apart.
So, where is he now?
We ain't speaking.
Why aren't you speaking to Dwayne?
Because he's an old spoil sport sourpuss. I want to visit one of those old pyramid places, but Dwayne says he has to stay in town.
Right. And you don't want to go on your own?
Well, there's no point in going to the pyramid if there's no one around to take my picture.
Is Dwayne still working for the CIA?
If he is, he doesn't know it. He's what they call a snoozer.
Don't you mean a sleeper?
No, this is different. He used to think he worked for them, but the psychotherapy cured him of that. What he doesn't realize is that now he really does work for them. At least that's the way I understood it.
What brings you to Quaramonte, Pearl?
What takes me just about anywhere is the market.
You drove 2,000 miles to go shopping?
Shopping is my role in the economy of the great design, George.
What do you make of this stone, Pearl?
Oh, that's pretty. What's that thing supposed to be, a rabbit?
I believe it's a coyote.
Well, it sure is cute.
I was surprised she didn't ask me where she could buy one. What does this mean to you, Pearl?
What cute little feathers. Why, if you had two of those, they'd sure make nice earrings.
This isn't intended for frivolous personal adornment, Pearl. It's a dart, tipped with a fast-acting, muscle-numbing poison.
Pardon me, I stand corrected, honey.
Sometimes I got the feeling that communication with Pearl was like sending signals out into space. Maybe, if you waited long enough, you'd get an intelligent answer back. But it was a long shot. Look at this, Pearl. A tequila worm.
Don't you bring that thing anywhere near me, honey. I swear I'll scream like a hog on a hot plate.
Take a look at this news cutting, Pearl.
You'll have to read it to me, George. I left my specs in a gay bar in Santa Barbara.
Well, it's about an eclipse of the sun, which is due to occur in a few weeks' time.
You'd think the government would warn us about these kind of things.
It's not dangerous or anything. Apparently, the best place to view the eclipse is right here in Quaramonte.
Oh, my.
She didn't appear to be the slightest bit interested. What do you make of this statue, Pearl?
Hoo-wee, that's a spitting image of Dwayne's brother Sheridan. A little less body hair, maybe, but it's him all right.
Catch you later, Pearl. In Quaramonte, defacing a poster was probably a capital offense. Hey, Nico!
Hola, señora.
Hi. We were wondering...
I was talking to the lady, Chico.
Hi, my name is Nicole Collard.
Concha Garcia. How can I help you, sister?
The corporation I represent is considering a major investment in Quaramonte. Your advice, as the head of an obviously successful concern, is precisely what I'm after. My assistant, Mr. Stobart, has a few questions he'd like to ask you.
Have you heard of a man named Karzak?
No? Who is he?
He's the reason we came to Quaramonte. We think he's running a drug ring.
Well, I hope you find him, but I've never heard the name before.
Can you tell me about the accident at the mine?
Accident? It was sabotage. Somebody wanted my mine closed down for good.
Do you have any evidence that the mine was sabotaged?
Not yet, but I'll get to the bottom of it. There'd been trouble at that mine for several months. The workforce was getting smaller every day. Someone had started a rumor among the men that the mine was cursed. Now the entire operation has been closed down.
Where's the site of the mine?
Several days upriver at a remote area known as Teoculcan.
Would you like a dog biscuit?
Would you like a smack in the mouth, Chico?
Does this stone mean anything to you?
I think it is a spirit stone carved by a Mayan priest, no? I don't know which of their many gods it represents.
Do you recognize the icon on this label?
Condor Transglobal.
Did the company operate here in Quaramonte?
Yes, they ran an old container ship, the Mayan Princess.
Do you know who owned Condor Transglobal?
I've no idea.
You see this? It's my lucky piece of coal.
What's so lucky about it?
I'm not sure yet.
Nice buns.
Have you heard about the forthcoming eclipse?
I don't take much interest in things like that. One of the boys might know about it.
Would you be interested in these panties? They look about your size.
Is that your best line, Chico?
I'm serious. They were an unwanted gift.
Put them away before you get overexcited.
Can you tell me anything about this statue?
It is Tezcatlipoca, the god of death and pestilence. That fetish would be considered by many to be a bad omen.
Hi.
Good afternoon and welcome to Consolidated Mining. If you are planning to stay in Cuaramonte City, may I recommend the Consolidated Mining Experience, an interactive hands-on tour of one of our deepest mines, with talking tour guides available in 3 different languages.
A tour of a mine.
Well, this is a mining company. What else did you expect?
Do you know anything about the eclipse that's due soon?
Me? No, senor.
Do you know where I could find Senor Karzak?
No, senor.
How come you're not wearing any pants?
I feel more alert without them. Kind of perky.
And your boss doesn't mind?
She suggested it.
I have done just as I have been instructed, Professor. With the mine closed down, there'll be no one around to observe your excavations. Ah, I have visitors.
Just remember what I told you, General. There's really no need to make a martyr out of that man.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting, Senor. Welcome to Cuaramonte.
Thanks. My name's George Stobart from California.
But what is this? An angel come down to earth.
Nicole Collard. Enchanté, mon général.
Pardon me, Senorita, but I couldn't help myself.
Look, we'd like to ask you a few questions.
You've come to the right place, Senor. Tourist information. General Graciento, at your service.
This is the tourist office? It says police on the sign outside.
It is both, Senor. I am a man of many parts.
I can see that, General.
Have you heard of a guy called Karzak?
No. No, I never heard of him.
I hear there was an accident at the mine a few months ago.
That's correct.
A lot of men killed, weren't there?
A few.
30?
Barely 1% of the working population.
Is it true there's a restriction on music in Cuaramonte?
Yes, there is. An emergency measure introduced by Nuestra Senora.
Folk music is a link with the past for some of these people. Take away their musical roots and what do they got left?
Easy listening.
You think easy listening could replace a musical heritage hundreds of years old?
Why not? It happened in your country.
Are there any ruins around the city?
Of course, Signor. Cuaramonte has everything.
I have a friend who wants to visit an historical site.
Ronaldo will only be too pleased to conduct a guided tour. When he's dealt with today's paperwork, of course.
Who was the guy you were talking to when we arrived?
Professor Ubier, a visitor, senor, like yourselves.
Did you say Ubier?
Si, senor. Professor Ubier, a French archaeologist.
What's Ubier doing in Quaramonte?
Researching our rich and glorious past, senor. The professor is planning an expedition to some Mayan ruins. He came to see me to get an excavation permit.
Take a look at this label.
Si, senor. Condor Transglobal.
Can you tell me where to find their offices?
No, senor. I never heard of them, and neither did Ronaldo.
The lady at the mining company told us a ship belonging to Condor was here recently.
Conchita Garcia is crazy. If there had been a ship, do you think I wouldn't have noticed?
Do you know anything about the forthcoming eclipse, General?
Such things do not interest me, senor.
Are you sure you never heard of Condor?
Oh, yes.
The company is registered here in Quaramonte City.
You are mistaken, senorita.
The musicians out in the square say that a ship flying the Condor flag was birthed here.
They are simple peasants. They will go along with anything you say in the hopes of parting you from your money.
Condor is run by Karzak, isn't it?
Wrong again, senor. Karzak has nothing to do with anything called Condor, whoever he is.
Do you keep a record of companies registered in Quaramonte?
Of course, senorita. Unfortunately, all the records were destroyed by a flash flood.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
That's a native carving, isn't it? Where did you get it?
We picked it up in the market as a souvenir.
Would you like a biscuit?
Are you trying to bribe me?
Well, every man has his price.
Mine is more than a dog cookie, Senor Stobart.
What do you think of these panties, General?
Oh boy, fabuloso!
They're yours if you'll tell me all you know about Karzak.
I told you. I never heard of the guy. Do I get the panties now? I told you all I know.
You told me nothing. I'll be back. Hi, I'm George Stobart.
Hello, senor. How can I help you?
Are there any ancient pyramids near Quaramonte?
Si, senor. But it's not very impressive. It's in ruins.
That's perfect. Would you be willing to give a guided tour of the ruins?
I can't. The General would have a fit if I left all this paperwork.
You know anything about this eclipse?
No, senor. El General keeps me in the dark about most things.
Do you recognize this statue?
Tezcatlipoca. The night wind. Take it away, senor. That stone is cursed.
Would you like a gourmet dog snack biscuit?
I would love one, senor. But I would have a problem with my teeth.
Toothache?
No, senor. If the General catches me eating on duty, he'll knock them out.
So long.
Why did you show him the stone?
I thought maybe he might know something about it.
Well, he does now, for sure. He knows we have it.
You came on a little strong with the General.
I was merely flattering his ego, Georges. Every man has his Achilles heel.
Maybe, but that guy's weakness isn't in his foot. Labano tells me he's been seeing a lot of you.
We meet sometimes for lunch, a drink. After you'd gone back to the States, I was pretty lonely, you know.
Lonely? You must have been desperate. Couldn't you just visit the zoo or something? That man we saw talking to the General was Ubier. Didn't you recognize him?
I never met him, remember? The guy I called in Paris claimed to be Ubier, but he sounded nothing like the man in the police station. Maybe the professor really is innocent.
Nah, it's too much of a coincidence that he's here in Quaramonte. Guess what this is? Go on, guess.
It's wrought iron, probably from a chimney stack on an old stove.
Well, I suppose it could be. How did she know that?
My grandfather used to work in a foundry.
Would you like a biscuit?
Gourmet dog? Have you been eating those things, Georges?
Sure, they're great. Take a look at this, Nico.
That's disgusting, Georges. Why are you carrying it around with you?
I don't know. I just can't seem to part with it. Take a look at this.
An eclipse of the sun. Why the sudden interest in astronomy?
I found the cutting in Ubier's house.
Apparently, it's only visible from Central America.
Take a look at this.
Mon Dieu! Where did you get that kind of money?
It's not mine. I found that statement at Ubier's house. Do you have any theories about this stone?
I think that design represents a dog, a Mexican dog.
So, this is the sacred Chihuahua stone? Sheesh. Professor Ubier?
Yes? Who are you?
My name is Stobart. George Stobart.
I thought that face was familiar. Remember me, George? Dwayne Henderson.
Hi, Dwayne. Just a moment. I have a few questions to ask the professor here. Does the name Karzak mean anything to you?
Yes, I know him. In fact, if it wasn't for Kazak, I wouldn't be here.
What?
He's financing my expedition.
Tell me about your wife, Professor.
Please, I don't want to talk about her.
Maybe you don't, but I do. Why was she known as the Little Dachshund?
It was just a silly pet name I used to call her. Somehow some damned reporter found out.
What do you know about my girlfriend's abduction?
I don't know what you're talking about.
She was invited to your mansion in Paris.
Not by me, she wasn't. I haven't been home for nearly 7 months.
Have you ever employed a Central American butler or servant?
I've never employed any kind of servant, monsieur.
Can you tell me anything about this stone?
Where did you get that?
That's my business.
How much do you want for it?
It's not for sale. Do you see this label?
Yes. It refers to a company named Condor. What of it?
I traced that company here to Quaramonte. Do you know where I can find the offices of Condor Transglobal?
The company no longer exists. They went bankrupt recently.
I have proof that you are directly involved with Condor.
I used them as shippers to transport artifacts to a gallery in Paris. Beyond that, I have no connection with the company, which, as I said, no longer exists.
Do you know anything about this eclipse, Professor?
Of course. It's not the reason I'm here in Quaramonte, but I'm looking forward to seeing it all the same.
Take a look at this, Professor. What have you got to say about that?
Where did you get this?
Never mind that. How do you explain these withdrawals?
I left my financial affairs in the hands of my secretary.
Including the withdrawal of funds in cash from your personal account?
I trust Gwyneth implicitly.
And why Marseille? Why the very place my girlfriend was taken?
That's obvious, Stobart. We are both the victims of the same devious plot.
What plot?
I have no idea.
What's your interest in the eclipse, Professor?
Oh, it's purely a layman's curiosity. History's my subject, not astronomy. But I've been fascinated by the movements of the heavenly bodies since I was a child. I wouldn't miss a total eclipse for the world.
Does the eclipse have some special significance for you?
For me? No. For the ancient Mayans, it marked the end of the Fifth Age.
Perhaps we should be celebrating.
Ah, no. The end of each age heralds destruction on a global scale. The fifth is the final age, ending in the total destruction of the Earth.
Would you like a biscuit?
No, thank you.
You should, they're good. I can't get enough of these things. Can you identify this statue, Professor?
Oh yes. Tezcatlipoca, the Lord of Darkness.
A Central American god, right?
A supreme deity. Tezcatlipoca means, literally, smoking mirror. There. You see the mirror shield in his left hand? The Mayans believed he could look into the mirror and see into the hearts of men. He was the wind which came howling in the night in search of victims, and victims they gave him by the thousand.
Human sacrifices?
Men, women, children, animals, anything that bled. The steps of his temple ran red with the blood of sacrifices. The Mayans have a legend that says he'll return one day. I hope I'm not around to see it.
Are you still working for... you know who?
Who's that, George? You know I'm retired.
Oh, nothing. Forget it. I confused you with somebody else.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Do you think the general was involved with Condor?
Hell no. And if he's a general, I'm a Buddhist. No, that fella's just a mouthpiece for the real power in Quaramonte.
So the general is nothing but a puppet?
He's like Pinocchio before he met the Blue Rinse Fairy. Strictly strings and wood.
Who's pulling the strings?
His mother. Better known as La Presidenta, the dictator.
Does the name Karzak mean anything to you?
Sounds like a comic book villain to me, son.
He's the man behind Condor, and the rat who kidnapped Nico.
You know, the first time I met you, I was deeply impressed with your naive simplicity. I said to Pearl, if we ever had kids, I would have wanted a boy like George. But I underestimated you, son.
I spoke to Pearl earlier.
Yeah? Did she mention that we had a kind of falling out?
Yes, she did.
She'll get over it.
Do you know anything about a shipping company called Condor Transglobal?
I never heard of it, son.
Did you drive all the way down here?
Hell no. Pearl did the driving while I followed the maps. The way she handled the wheel, you'd think she'd been trucking half her life.
Did you know that traditional music is illegal in Caramonte?
Is that so? Seems reasonable to me.
No, really. The leader of the band in the square has been imprisoned just because of the music he played.
I don't know who you've been talking to, but that fella, Miguel, he's an agitator.
What's the real reason the musician was imprisoned?
Handed out subversive literature at the mines. That so-called general was waiting for Miguel when he got back into town. Marched him off to jail at gunpoint on a charge of inciting a riot.
What's in the truck, Dwayne?
Oh, just camping equipment. Sleeping bags and tents. Me and Pearl always hankered after a taste of the great outdoors.
Aren't you worried about camping out in a tropical jungle?
We had a trial run in West Virginia. This'll be a breeze in comparison.
Would you like a biscuit, Dwayne?
Oh no, those gourmet dog snacks bring me out in a rash.
You've tried them?
They were on special offer. Pearl bought a whole crate. When I asked her if she was thinking of keeping a dog too, she just laughed.
Would you like to borrow my lucky piece of coal, Dwayne?
What's so lucky about it?
Well, we made it to Quaramonte in one piece.
When you've been here a few days, you won't look on that as luck.
What do you think of these panties, Dwayne?
Lord, hot stuff, George. You buy those for your girl?
No, a guy we knew in Paris bought them for her.
Oh, you're a threesome then. Why are you looking at me like that, George?
Forget it.